I'm currently in a hole. However, every 10 days, this hole will get bigger, unlocking new biomes to explore and new challenges to take on. It also works in the nether, and my goal is to survive here for 100 days. But I can't break the walls in any way, and when I collect, if I take dirt and try to build up, I'll start taking damage. So for now, I dug down and went to the tree to break it, and while doing that, next I planted a sapling, crafted a crafting table and a wooden pickaxe, then collected 22 cobblestones from which I made and used basic stone tools and a furnace. I placed the furnace and noticed that the first night had begun, so I gathered some seeds and started making my first farm. Food around the pond with water. I planted the seeds and collected coal, from which I crafted my first torches and lit up the area around the food farm. Then I started digging down in search of my first iron. After a short while, I managed to find coal, and soon after, there it is, we've got our first iron. Alright, this is super important, because thanks to this, I'll be able to make myself some basic armor, so I'll gladly collect everything here. From that one ore vein, I managed to collect 11 iron, which is quite a lot for a single vein, so I kept digging down, which quickly brought the expected result, and I managed to collect 23 iron, after which I found a diamond. However, for now, without an iron pickaxe, I couldn't to mine it, so I went back up and put the iron into the furnace, and then I finished lighting up the area in our hole. I spent the first night just waiting. While waiting for the iron to smelt, and early in the morning, I collected the iron and chopped down the grown tree, then destroyed all the leaves and planted 4 saplings. Next, I crafted an iron pickaxe, a chest plate and pants, and also a shield. And finally, boots. I went downstairs and dug where I had before. I found a diamond, and then after a moment another one, plus some lapis and coal, and then yet another diamond. So I started heading back up, and there it turned out that... And Eliga. Whoa, we've got a cow, hey, nice, and we've also got a chicken and a second cow, so we've got 2 cows and a chicken. So it's the perfect time to build a pen for them. And our next tree has grown as well. I crafted a diamond axe and chopped down the grown tree, then planted saplings. I didn't just plant and harvest wood, I took breaks to wait for new trees to grow after a night spent gathering wood. I managed to gather as many as 29 logs of wood, then I harvested the grown wheat from the farm and sowed the seeds I obtained. Then I crafted some fences and 2 gates and started building an enclosure for our cows. However, not everything went as planned because I was attacked by 2 phantoms, but thanks to my shield, after a brief fight I defeated the 2 creatures. After a quick victory over the phantoms, I built an enclosure for our cows and brought them inside, then bred them, and afterwards, one of them, I killed it because I needed food, which I immediately put into the furnace. Then I gathered the fully grown tree and planted some seeds. Then what do we have here? The border has just been unlocked. Alright, we've got a skeleton here. I've already seen him, so I'd get rid of this guy first, and actually, we've got some kind of temple here, so that's really great. But now, what's with this hole? I went into the pyramid and killed a spider, then collected a sponge, and also wool, which appeared in this pyramid. I defeated another skeleton and was about to dig down to the treasure, but after destroying the floor, it turned out that one of the monsters must have triggered the TNT trap and blew up all the items. So without wasting any time, I left the pyramid. After leaving, a desert village appeared before my eyes. It was on the other side of our hole, so I ran over to it, and on the way, I grabbed some food from a pig. After arriving in the village, I immediately took a bed from the first house, and in the second one, I managed to gather quite a lot of food that was in a chest. Then I checked the towers, where it turned out there was even more food. Then I went on to loot the rest of the houses, where I took even more food and some clay. Next, I decided to patch up the hole that had formed after expanding the border. However, since I had enough cobblestone, I crafted a chest, put my items in it, and placed the bed. After that, I finished bridging the gap between the biomes with wooden planks. And also, I'd like to ask you to boost this video by leaving a like and subscribing. It would really help me out. And there we go, everything here is nicely walled off, so now we can do the very next thing on our list, which is to use our coal to make some torches and light up the area more. So we'll definitely place down quite a few more torches here. Here, we can also go ahead and collect this sugarcane. I finished lighting up the area and planted sugarcane around the lake, chopped down the grown trees, and mined cobblestone. All of this was so that I could build our first little house. I dug up and planted the saplings, then started building our first house, which I interrupted to sleep through the night. In the morning, I resumed building the house, put up the first pillars, filled in the outline of the walls, and added a door. Next, I crafted a shovel and collected sand, which I put into the furnace. Next, I crafted a second furnace, which I used to smelt cobblestone. In my spare time, I gathered saplings and planted them around our island. I collected the glass from the furnace and turned it into panes, which I started installing, while waiting for more glass to finish smelting. I destroyed the floor and replaced it with planks, and then I went to sleep. The next day, I chopped down trees, collected glass from the furnace, and made panes. I moved the chest to a new spot, then finished the walls and roof of our first base. I went downstairs and got to work on the final touches, meaning the floor. While waiting for the rest of the stone, I also crafted some extra chests. And by the way, Marion, what are you doing here? Alright, I don't know Marion, but this is my house, and I'm just finishing up the floor. And now we can go ahead and take our leather, which I have here in my inventory. And we can make a couple of item frames right now, so let's make 2. And from every single location we're in, I'd really like it to be in an item frame. And for the first biome, I used dirt, which I put into the item frame, and I took sand from the second biome as an item to represent it. I placed a bed in the house and ran to grab some wheat and breed the cows, and I spent the rest of the day gathering wood and planting new saplings. I slept through the night, and early in the morning it turned out that our border had expanded, covering the taiga, so I immediately ran to check it out. After a while, I noticed a cat, and wanting to save it, I decided to catch some fish. So I went to the pyramid, where I killed a spider and crafted a fishing rod from its string. With it, I managed to catch a few fish, and I also got a fishing rod with the Lure 2 enchantment. I returned to the taiga and started trying to tame the cat, which kept running away from me. Alright, come on, where are you running off to? No, I can't use the fish, I just can't, you're so fast. There we go, we've got the kitty. Alright, this one will be Mruchek, and we've got our first friend in this world. So kitty, I'm inviting you to follow me, but first I'll build you some kind of passage here. I transported him to the house and put my items in the chest, then I went back to the taiga to collect a snowball, and as an item representing this biome, I also gathered a pumpkin so I could create another one of our friends. However, before that, I also transported a cow from the taiga pen and bred the cows. Next, I returned to the house, crafted an item frame, and placed it on the wall of souvenirs. Then, I added the snowball to it as the item representing the taiga biome. Then, I crafted shears and a block of snow, which allowed me to create another friend, Bowen. After that, I gathered some wood and a bit of snow, then returned to the house, spent the night, and crafted another shovel. In the morning I went back to the taiga and finished gathering snow, which allowed me to craft snow blocks, and with those I was able to finish our enclosure for Bowen Makik in a snowy style. I lit up the house until I heard a strange sound. What is that? A wandering trader has spawned near us. I don't have any emeralds anyway, but maybe he's got something cool to trade. Yeah, well, I don't have any emeralds, so I can't buy anything from him, but your loot is so bad, dude, I might as well just kill you. I also got rid of the llamas, which gave me leather, and from that I crafted item frames and put them up as souvenirs on the wall. Next I bred our cows, and thanks to bone meal grew the wheat and harvested it. Then I went back to the house, put the items in the chest, and spent the night there. In the morning I immediately noticed that our border had expanded, so I went to check it out right away. And our border expanded even more. We all unlocked the mansion, and I can already see a chest there, but I'm afraid something might be waiting for us here, so... There's definitely a spider waiting for us, and I can already see some guy here who's going to give me trouble, so... Actually, we can just kill him, maybe. When I was fighting that one guy, suddenly his buddies jumped in and it turned into a 5-on-1 fight. However, I managed to defeat them easily and then went inside where an evoker was waiting for me, so I decided to launch a quick attack on him. I ran into the temple and quickly killed the evoker, obtaining the totem. However, unfortunately for me, he managed to summon Vexes, which forced me to retreat. I ran a bit away to recover, and then I wanted to go back to defeat those Vexes. The plan sounded perfect, but I didn't expect it to turn out this way. We have to somehow kill them, I think. At least that's what it seems like. One is coming at me now, but I don't have any food. How much damage does it do? Alright, I didn't expect that. I really didn't expect that. Definitely, yeah, because it hit me so hard. So many hearts, like... How? That's how I destroyed my first totem, but being angry, I killed all the spirits, and then I went back to the mansion to loot it completely. I went upstairs and collected 2 chests, in which I managed to find, among others, golden apples and a name tag. Next, I went downstairs to keep looting this structure, but there I was met by one of the pillagers and a few mobs. I killed them and moved deeper into the temple. I thought I wouldn't find anything else in this place, but I changed my mind when I entered the last room. And there it is, we've got another guy, so I kill him right away, we get a totem, and I can officially escape from here because I didn't see anything else left, so now all that's left is to deal with the Vexes. I quickly beat the Vexes and continued exploring this biome. Right next to the mansion I found huge mushrooms, gathering some and decided to run through the entire new biome. Next, I took advantage of the gap between the biomes, gathered resources, and focused heavily on collecting iron, of which I needed as much as half a stack. Because ores spawned randomly in this world, I had to check every spot in this gap to be able to craft an anvil as quickly as possible. On the way, I picked up 2 more diamonds, then returned to the base where I spent the night, and in the morning I crafted a diamond pickaxe and put away the mushroom. As an item representing the new biome, I bred the cows and then went back to gathering more iron. I collected 31 iron so I could already return home, where I put it in to smelt, and in the meantime I took the grown trees and spent the night. In the morning I bred the cows and the grow. I grew wheat with bone meal, then sowed the seeds and fixed the area around the base. And now we have our iron all smelted, so yes, we can finally craft some iron blocks from it, and we do it exactly like this. And now we'll name our little cat Maruchek, and you officially become our very own Maruchek, which is just so super cute, really, really nice, so grey and lovely and all. And so we have our Maruchek, which is really nice. Next I ran to the taiga to gather wood, where I spent a lot of time. I already knew that this day would go down as one of the most organized. With the sunset, I returned to the base and put my items in the chest, then slept through the night. In the morning the border expanded again, so I set out to explore it. And when I reached the new biome, I knew it was a mushroom biome with a river. In the middle, there was a massive coral. I ran around and explored the new biome, and I found something that looked like a small monument from a distance. What is this? It looks like a monument, just a much smaller one, so we can go over there and see what it looks like. I rushed over to it and dug my way inside, where the Guardian boss was already waiting for me, whom I managed to defeat after some difficulty and a few tries. In the end, I managed to kill him, but that didn't save me from the effect. Mining fatigue, which meant I had to go to the cow pen for some milk to get rid of it. I drank the milk and gathered some wheat, then bred the cows again, and afterwards returned home. I crafted some bre, and placed a sponge as an item representing this biome, then went back to the monument to continue looting it. Alright, let's dig in here, and we've got gold, okay, we've got gold blocks, and this is really kind of a pseudo-sea mini monument, so we take the gold blocks and we actually have quite a few of them, which is really nice. I managed to collect a total of 8 gold blocks, so I left the monument and continued my journey around this biome. However, as it turned out later, there was nothing else. I didn't find anything there, so I gathered some more red mushrooms, which, due to the food shortage, were very important for me to craft mushroom stew. I returned to the house, where I crafted 3 more loaves of bread and an additional 3 golden apples. Then I cleared the area in front of the house and built miniature versions of the structures I had already explored. I started with a small pyramid, and then I ran to the mansion to gather blocks needed for these decorative figurines to beautify the area in front of our house. The next structure was the monument, and building it took me almost the entire day, so I returned to the house and spent the night there. In the morning, the barrier expanded again, so I set out to explore the new biome. So let's see what we have here, and here we actually have some caves. Alright, and here we actually have a lush cave, so lush caves always remind me a lot of moss blocks which we can collect. And we also have diamonds here, so we can collect some diamonds too, and there might actually be a lot of them here. Actually, since it generated this high up, I explored all around the whole biome, and there were plenty of diamonds in plain sight, so I couldn't just pass them by, so I ran around. And I kept collecting diamonds until I found a beehive on one of the hills. I flooded it with water and collected the obsidian I made. However, there wasn't enough here to create a portal to the nether, so I set off to continue exploring. I collected a few more diamonds and returned to my house, where I crafted a diamond armor and an axe. Then I cooked some fish, and in the meantime I harvested wheat, bred the cows, and killed a few of them. I went back home, took the fish out of the furnace, and put the meat in to cook. Next, I crafted an item frame and placed it on the wall of mementos. Then I gathered some sugarcane and crafted the books needed for the enchanting table, which I managed to craft. However, the day came to an end, so I went to bed, and in the morning... Now I can finally enchant my items, so let's grab some lapis, take off all of this armor, and enchant it in any way possible. So, protection 1, feather falling 1, protection 1, efficiency 1, and efficiency 1. And now we have a kind of pseudo-enchanted set, but it's still better than nothing. I put the items away in the chests and crafted new item frames, which I placed on our wall of souvenirs. Then I gathered some sugarcane and started fishing. I managed to catch some fish, which I put in to cook, and then I went back to fishing. I caught a few more fish, which I put in to cook, and then I lay down to... In the morning, it turned out that the border had expanded again, so I headed in that direction, and from a distance I could see that it was a biome of mesa and savanna. After a bit of running around, I managed to find it. Yo, and we've got lava. Great, it's awesome that we have lava, because now I can pour water over it, of course, and we can collect some obsidian. So that's really, really good. I collected 10 obsidian and some terracotta as an item to represent this biome, and then I moved on. And to my surprise, I managed to find another village whose only noteworthy feature was a brewing stand, which I took with me. After that, I returned home, where I placed the terracotta in the item frame and collected some gravel, which I needed to drop, flint to make a lighter, I crafted a lighter, and then I built a portal to the nether. Alright, let's see what the nether looks like. I hope it looks interesting, and hopefully it looks like a... And here it is, this is what the nether looks like, and honestly it looks pretty hilarious. Here we have a piece of a different biome, and that's how it is everywhere here. Netherrack. I gathered some netherrack and then returned home, where I put it away. Netherrack is an item representing our first hellish biome. However, every 10 days the border in the nether will also expand. Next, I took care of the villagers, so I crafted a boat and transported them closer to the base. Then I crafted a fletching table and started building a treehouse for our villagers. I quickly returned to sleep through the night, and in the morning I went back to building the house. For our villagers, I built stairs leading up, thinking it would be the simplest way to transport the villagers to the top. Then I gathered leaves from the center of the tree and made a room out of leaves to imitate a house. After that, I went down and improved the aesthetics of the house from the outside. Next, I led the villagers upstairs using a fletching table and added chests and a brewing stand. Then I replaced the entrance with leaves and swapped the stairs for a ladder to make it easier to get to the top. And now we have something like this, an elegant treehouse, so it looks really cool. Here we have our two villagers, and it's cool because we made use of these two connected trees. And because of that, we can now close them in there. The villagers. And it looks really nice, I really like this house. Next, the big topics. I went to the chests and took all the wood, left a stack in the chest, and then headed to the treehouse to trade sticks for emeralds. I also traded emeralds for redstone with another villager to unlock the pearl trade, then went back to the house to sleep for the night. In the morning, I took 2 beds from the village and added them for our villagers, then took gold from the chest and returned to trading with the villagers. I traded sticks for emeralds and emeralds for glowstone to level up his profession as quickly as possible in order to unlock the ability to have pearls. Unfortunately, the villager didn't have pearls available for trade, so I took another bow and crafted another fletching table, then set out to find another villager. No, this villager got converted, oh no, and they're even perfectly under the tree, but unfortunately, he was turned by a zombie. Alright, that's really tough, what a shame, what a shame. I lost the villager, so we won't be able to do it. Unfortunately, the shot well, but oh well. I went back to the treehouse and traded sticks for emeralds, then returned to our house to put away some items, after which I slept through the night. In the morning, the border expanded, so I ran to check it out. As it turned out, it was a jungle biome, and among the trees I managed to find... Whoa, there's a panda! Alright, how cute, look at her! Whoa, we've got a panda! Good thing there's bamboo here, so I'll even be able to take this panda with me. So I'm gathering this bamboo, maybe? And the best part is if we throw the bamboo to the panda now, she'll start eating it. And it looks so awesome in Minecraft. I'm a huge fan of this. Why wasn't she eating? What's going on? I soon noticed a parrot which I tamed with seeds just like its green sister. Now with 2 parrots, I found another panda. I went back to the house where I stored the bamboo to represent the biome and dropped off the parrots. Returning to the jungle, it turned out it was becoming a cherry biome. However, I didn't find anything else interesting there. I entered the nether, where it turned out that the area had expanded, and on top of that, I found a villager there, so I went back to the base for a moment, where I took some sticks and emeralds along with the smithing table, and I traded arrows from the villager, killed some piglins, and collected bone blocks. Yo, what's up? A guy even spawned on a chicken. Hey, okay, that's actually super rare in Minecraft, so I was really surprised. I went back to the base where I turned the bone blocks into bone meal. I gathered some wheat, which I turned into bread, then put the items into the chest and slept through the night. In the morning, the border expanded again, so without a moment's hesitation, I ran to check. And okay, unfortunately, we need to build up a bit here, so let's go over here and build ourselves all the way to the top. So we're in the trial chamber now. And in general, how does it look to you? I'd like to see it. Okay, it's long, it seems to go all the way through. And there are actually safes here. I wonder if you can trigger a mob phase here. I went down and started looting this trial chamber because I was killing spiders from the first spawner and collected the pots, then defeated another wave of skeletons. After a while in this chamber, I collected as many as 5 keys, so I started opening the safes, from which I got a ton of items. I also gathered the pots and collected the items from the safes, and in the end I left the last key as a souvenir from this biome. I returned to the base and placed the key in an item frame, then added new item frames and put the items into the chest, after which I went back to the nether. And look, we've got another pillar and there's a bastion literally in plain sight, so that's really cool. Here's our villager, still here. But let's take 1 soul sand as a souvenir. And now we can somehow enter this bastion. I went inside and destroyed the spawner, then collected gold blocks and blue leaves from this biome, and continued looting the bastion. I collected the chest and all the gold I could find, then went downstairs, crafted a boat, and then traded the gold with the piglins. Unfortunately, I only found 2 piglins, and I accidentally managed to kill one of them. So I kept looking for more, giving them gold the whole time. In the meantime, I killed an enderman, which dropped my first pearl, and then I picked up the items that the piglins threw me, but there were no pearls. So I waited for new endermen, or finally for better drops from trading. Finally, after a very long time and wasting almost all my gold, I managed to collect them. 13 pearls. I returned to the base where I put away my items, and then I stored the soul sand and the blue leaf as items representing the new nether biomes. I also collected blocks from the troll chambers and built a small statue of the chamber. And now we have elegantly built pseudo-trial chambers, the largest structure out of all of them, and it looks really nice. I put the items in the chest and harvested wheat using bone meal, then replanted the seeds. I put the items back in the chest, bred the cows, and killed a few of them. I came back home, put the meat in the furnace to cook, crafted new item frames, and placed them on the glass. I crafted some bread and took the meat out of the furnace, then went to bed and slept through the night. In the morning, I ran towards the border to check if it had expanded. And we've got an ancient city. Out of curiosity, I'll check it out. I almost died. Out of curiosity, I'd like to check the chest. We've got some potions, which is cool. They could always come in handy. Not sure if I can wake up here. The warden. I got an achievement, so I guess I can. I collected a name tag from the chest as well as even more regeneration potions. As it turned out, in the same biome as I kept going, I found a stronghold where I got iron from the chests. And I found out that I need 9. Periendu, so I gathered the blocks and returned to the base where I filled the item frame with a moss brick and then I entered the nether. And we've got a new biome, we've got the basalt biome, so I'm definitely going to collect 1 piece of basalt as a souvenir. And now we can also go up. And here we immediately have another biome, the one with red wood, so that's really cool. I built up to the new biome and collected a red leaf from it, the item representing it, and then I started looking around and running along the border of the 2 biomes to find a fortress as quickly as possible. I didn't have to run for long before a fortress appeared before my eyes, so I went inside, collected nether wart, and started looking for a blaze spawner. There it is, alright, we've got a spawner, so that's great. I just need to build my way over there somehow, so I need to quickly gather some more blocks, and actually we can use a fire resistance potion now. And unfortunately I didn't get anything. I dug up the spawner while waiting for new blazes to respawn, and after waiting for quite a while and killing blazes, I managed to collect the 6 rods needed for activating the final end portal. I returned home, added basalt and crimson leaf as the last items from the nether, and prepared their contribution for the dragon. I headed towards the portal, and once I stood in front of it, I crafted the Eyes of Ender and activated the portal, then jumped in. The end looked normal, so I destroyed all the crystals and finally killed the dragon with a bow.